Anyway, yesterday the city released a redacted version of the Key Point Independent Review report. Today, I want the public to know that I have reviewed the report in its entirety. It is a little disappointing when they found that there was some bias on the part of the internal affairs investigator. But I want the public to understand that one of the challenges for the independent investigator is that they don't understand that our internal review process is not completed until the chief of police has an opportunity to have a disciplinary review hearing and actually speak to the involved employees. It's important for the public to understand and to know that part of the questions that may or may not have been asked will be asked. If they're not asked by investigators, you can be assured that they will always be asked by me. Because prior to coming to any conclusions as the chief of police, I always ensure that the questions that need to be asked are asked. And so it's really critical for folks to understand that our internal process has not been completed, is not completed. Another issue that I want to point out, and a statement that I want to point out to the public and to the community that we serve and to the media, is on page 5 of the report that was released to you yesterday, where Key Point specifically writes, and I will quote, "While we had very significant problems with the quality of the internal affairs investigation, we nonetheless concluded that the underlying evidence, that is, the witness statements, photographs, videos, crime scene analysis, and scientific evidence, including the autopsy report, were sufficient to allow for independent conclusions to be reached without resort to a first-party investigation." I think that is really critical for people to understand that although there were some criticisms and although there are some indications of room for process improvements, the report in its entirety was of sufficient quality to allow for them to come to their own conclusions without an independent report or investigation. In other words, reconducting an investigation, coming out and actually interviewing folks in a first-hand investigation. The other point that I really want to make real clear to the community and to you folks is the fact that the independent investigator has found that they refer to it as homicide, but that our criminal investigation, which was conducted by our Special Investigations Unit, was conducted in a competent manner. I think that is key because at the end of the day, the criminal investigation is the most important and critical component of this inquiry into this use of deadly force. And it is clear from their report, from their review of that criminal investigation that was done, conducted in a competent manner. And lastly, in terms of internal affairs, one of the areas that I think that was a challenge for Key Point is that their understanding, or maybe limited understanding of our process. One of the issues that they brought up was the fact that I did not interview all witnesses, and what I don't think they understand is that our IA piggybacks on the criminal investigation and actually utilizes the criminal interviews by the Special Investigations Unit as part of their administrative inquiry. So there are parts of this report that are critical where we absolutely share those concerns. But at the end of the day, just like Key Point, this police department has leaders that have the intellectual capacity, the experience, and the training to be able to see the good, the bad, the ugly, the accurate, and can make our own determination. So we are confident that the investigators gathered sufficient information for us to be able to gather and render a well-informed decision as to any discipline, if any. And lastly, I have asked an outside team of investigators, hand-selected by the chief of police, part of our management team, not detectives, not sergeants, but actually commanders and lieutenants, to take the Key Point investigative report and actually to make sure that there is nothing that we're missing. We have to take administrative action, if any, by the 7th of November, and I can assure the city and the community and the officers and members of this department that we will have the complete picture by November 7th, and that we will make our decisions based on our on policy, on procedures, on experience, and our own best professional judgment based on the law as well.